Robert Duvall reveals the 6 Hollywood stars he wanted to fight. At 93, Robert Duvall stands as one of Hollywood's last living legends, the embodiment of American acting royalty, whose performances in The Godfather, Apocalypse Now, and Lonesome Dove define masculine authenticity for generations. Behind that stoic screen presence, however, burns the spirit of a fighter who doesn't suffer fools or phonies. Duvall comes from that generation where men's subtle differences man-to man, revealed a longtime associate who's worked alongside the actor for decades. He's not some hoe picking fights, but he's got a clear code. When someone crosses a line professionally or personally, Bobby believes in confronting it directly, old-school style. According to those in Duvall's inner circle, the actor has privately maintained a mental list of Hollywood figures whose behavior so thoroughly violated his professional code that physical confrontation seemed like the only appropriate response. Not passing disagreements or creative differences, but fundamental breaches of what Duvall considers the essential rules of manhood and professional conduct. There's a reason Bobby has played so many military men and cowboys, explained a former co-star. That's not acting. That's channeling. He believes in looking another man in the eye, speaking truth, and standing your ground. When someone in Hollywood violated those principles, it genuinely made his fist clench. Tonight, we reveal the 6 Hollywood stars who reportedly pushed the legendarily intense Robert Duvall to the brink of physical confrontation. A revealing glimpse into the fierce code of honor that has guided one of America's greatest actors through 6 decades in an industry not known for its integrity. I did the majority of my own stunts in this movie, and when you see the movie, you'll see in those one Kevin Costner, the director who pushed too far. When Kevin Costner cast Robert Duvall as Boss Spearman in his 2003 Western Open Range, it seemed like a perfect pairing. 2 generations of Hollywood leading men joining forces in a genre both revered. The resulting film is considered one of the finest modern westerns, but according to industry insiders, the behind-the-scenes relationship between the stars was far more combative than their on-screen partnership. Tension on Open Range. Duvall allegedly hated being directed by Costner and fought for script control, revealed a crew member who worked on the production. What looked like seamless collaboration on screen actually concealed simmering hostility that occasionally threatened to boil over into something more physical. The reported conflict stemmed from fundamentally different approaches to both acting and directing. Duvall, with his decades of experience and precise ideas about Western authenticity, allegedly found himself increasingly frustrated by Costner's directorial decisions. As both director and co-star, Costner wielded dual authority that Duvall, accustomed to being the most authoritative presence on Western sets, reportedly found difficult to accept. He respects no man who can't take a punch or a note, a production. Assistant overheard Duvall saying after a particularly tense disagreement over how a crucial scene should be played. Bobby felt that Costner wasn't open to his input despite his vastly greater experience in the genre. That's something Duvall couldn't tolerate, being treated as just another actor when he considered himself a guardian of Western authenticity. Specific points of contention reportedly included dialogue delivery, character motivations, and the pacing of key scenes. Duvall, known for his meticulous preparation and deep research into his roles, had apparently developed detailed backstories and behavioral traits for Boss Spearman that sometimes clashed with Costner's broader vision for the film. There was this fundamental tension between Costner's more romanticized, cinematic approach to westerns and Duvall's almost documentary-like commitment to historical accuracy, explained a producer familiar with the production. Bobby would say things like, "A real cattleman from that era wouldn't say it that way," or, "That's not how a man would handle that confrontation." When Costner held his ground as director, you could see Duvall's jaw tighten. According to multiple sources, the tension peaked during filming of a pivotal confrontation scene when Duvall strongly disagreed with Costner's direction, but was overruled. After the camera stopped rolling, Duvall allegedly approached Costner with such intensity that crew members momentarily feared the disagreement might turn physical. Duvall got right in his face, recalled a camera operator who witnessed the exchange. He didn't throw a punch, but there was this moment where everyone on set froze, wondering if decades of Hollywood decorum were about to be shattered by two major stars actually coming to blows. You could see Duvall physically restraining himself, his hands actually clenching and unclenching at his sides. While the confrontation ultimately remained verbal, those present reported that the incident created a lasting tension that never fully dissipated throughout production. The two professionals maintained enough composure to complete a critically acclaimed film, but the experience reportedly left Duvall with lasting resentment about what he considered Costner's insufficient respect for his expertise and contributions. In Duvall's mind, it wasn't just about creative differences, said a longtime associate. It was about respect and hierarchy. A younger man not properly acknowledging the wisdom of an elder, particularly in a genre where Duvall considered himself a keeper of the flame. For someone with Bobby's old school values, that's fighting territory. The next name on Duvall's list brings us to a clash between two wildly different approaches to the acting craft, with one method master pushing another to the breaking point. Salesman was like the last time. Sorry. It's been a long two. Dustin Hoffman, method versus method. Robert Duvall and Dustin Hoffman emerged from the same revolutionary period in American acting. Both studied at the famed neighborhood playhouse in New York. Both were influenced by the teachings of Sanford Meisner, and both helped redefine screen acting with their naturalistic performances in the late 1960s and 1970s. Despite these similarities, according to Hollywood insiders, their approaches to the craft and the professional conduct could not have been more different, creating tensions that reportedly pushed the normally controlled Duvall to thoughts of physical confrontation. Duvall once called him a pain-in-the-ass actor, recalled a director who has worked with both men. This wasn't just casual criticism. It reflected a fundamental philosophical divide between two titans of method acting who represented completely different interpretations of what that approach means. The roots of the reported animosity lie in their contrasting applications of method techniques. While both actors immersed themselves deeply in their roles, Duvall has always emphasized quiet preparation, practical research, and straightforward professionalism on set. Hoffman, by contrast, became famous or infamous for his more externalized, sometimes disruptive approach to achieving emotional authenticity. Two method icons. Only one could walk off the set without throwing hands, said a veteran character actor who has appeared in films with both stars. Bobby sees acting as skilled labor done with dignity and minimal drama. He researches, he prepares, he delivers. Hoffman's more theatrical approach. The stories about him staying awake for days to play someone exhausted or provoking other actors to get reactions represented everything Duvall despised about what he calls neurotic acting. This philosophical division reportedly came to a head during an industry event in the mid-1980s when both actors were present. According to multiple witnesses, Hoffman was regaling a group with stories of his extreme preparations for various roles, including his infamous methods during Marathon Man when he deprived himself of sleep to appear authentically exhausted, prompting co-star Laurence Olivier's famous quip, "My dear boy, why don't you try acting?" Duvall overheard this and just couldn't contain himself, remembered an attendee. He approached the group and said something like, "That's not method acting. That's just being a pain in the ass." Real actors don't need to torture themselves or everyone around them to do their job. The room went dead silent. Hoffman tried to laugh it off, but Bobby wasn't smiling. The tension between them reportedly intensified when Hoffman attempted to defend his approach, suggesting that Duvall's more restrained style might lack emotional depth. According to witnesses, this comment caused such an immediate change in Duvall's demeanor that several people moved to physically position themselves between the two actors. "Bobby got this look. Anyone who knows him recognized it," said a producer who was present. "His posture changed, his hands flex, and for a second, It seemed very possible that two of America's most celebrated actors were about to have a fist fight at an industry gala. Cooler heads prevailed, but the energy between them was unmistakable. This fundamental disagreement reportedly extended beyond this single confrontation to a broader professional weariness. Despite both actors working steadily in Hollywood for decades, they never appeared in a film together. An absence that industry insiders suggest was no coincidence, but rather a deliberate avoidance based on mutual antipathy. Both knew a collaboration would likely end badly, explained a casting director familiar with both men's careers. Duvall couldn't tolerate what he saw as Hoffman's self-indulgent approach to the craft, and Hoffman probably recognized that Duvall was one of the few actors of his stature who would.